Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Watch Your Lips. As always, my boys here, Jeffrey Cox, Kevin Burns.
And he's Jake Saldati.
I'm Jake Saldati. Thanks for coming back.
To episode 44.
44, Burns.
Reggie Jackson, right?
Burns, putting you back to the test.
Yes.
The tired old bit that always seems to work. And that's fine with us. Where can they get the podcast? Where can they listen?
They can listen on YouTube, and they can follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
They could watch us on
You
YouTube.
can listen.
Hey, you
And
did that on
listen
purpose.
if you like.
You can
Yeah,
listen.
you
on
can
YouTube.
listen to
but
it.
follow us on Instagram and Twitter at watchyour_lips.
Yeah.
We're also on TikTok at watchyourlips.
And if you're watching here on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Leave a comment
And if you always watch, like
and share.
it.
Boys, I don't know. I mean, I know where to start. It's been a week. Jeff, maybe you can start it for us. And okay.
I'd rather not. But go ahead.
We've been lucky. We are very lucky. We do have some very dedicated listeners. None more so than Mr. Steve Cox, and he passed away. Jeff's father. About a week ago. And so that's why you haven't heard from us, but he was very supportive of what we did. And I mean, I'm saying this to the podcast, yes, but growing up as kids together and playing sports together and him being around us pretty much since I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, he supported us through all levels of athletics, whether it was baseball, little league, Babe Ruth, you playing polo, or you guys playing water polo. Very, very impactful on a lot of people, and it was awesome to see some of that when you did announce that this what was going on. I don't know really what to say. I don't have the words, and I didn't when you told us, but I love you.
Yep.
And
Love you, brother.
we've
Love you guys, too.
been kind of like. We went with this last year with AJ. Like it's been,
Yeah.
and it's been the last few weeks you've dealt. Jeff's gone through a lot, and so if you do pray, please keep our guy here in your prayers. His whole family, his sisters, his mom, everybody. It's going through a lot, and we weren't sure whether we should be doing this. Should we do this? I know your dad is probably
we should do this.
listening right now with AJ.
He was probably wondering why we hadn't done one.
Yeah,
yet.
he's probably
is. That's my
pissed that we
fault.
took
He would
a
MF
week
you.
off.
No, much needed week
Yeah.
off.
And Jeff he called, it was like a day or so, or maybe over the weekend, is like, hey, we got to do it this week. We need to do it. For those that have never done something like this, and you can probably attest to it, and I know when we first did it together, this is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether people can get the sense of that or not, like just talking about whatever, one time goes by fairly quick, and
Right.
Whatever's on your mind, even if it's an hour of us doing this, whatever you're dealing with escapes you for that hour.
Exactly.
And it's refreshing at times, but one, obviously we're sorry for your loss, and
Thank you.
but that's where
Yes.
we've been. I don't know if you want to say anything about it or about Dad or.
No, he loved you guys, and he loved this for sure. I'm going to lose it here in a minute, but
We can stop. We can.
no. Just give me a sec. No, I'm just going to miss him, man. I'm devastated, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
That he's rejoicing with loved ones, and we believe. I mean, we've always had faith, and he was adamant about that growing up. That I don't question anywhere where he is right now, and he's in a much better place. Not only did he support me, he supported all of my friends.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. One of the memories that I have is obviously with you guys. We had a ton, but everybody that encountered him, he just lit up a room.
Yep.
He was funny as hell. Everything was, he brought humor into every single situation that I was ever in. You guys are my best friends. He's my very best friend,
Yeah.
that I've ever had. And I'll have a void in my heart forever. I know that, but
You know, I used to love.
he wants me to carry on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean,
absolutely. I totally agree.
I'm sure he was pissed off at me for not going to work on. He passed on Thursday, January 5th. I didn't work Friday, and I didn't work on Monday. For those of you that don't know, I worked for my dad for like the first 18 years of my career.
Was it that long?
Yeah, and he never missed work, man. Like, and I don't either. Like, even if you got a little sniffle, you're coming in. You know, his work ethic was second to none. No matter how hard he partied, because he loved, you guys know that. And
It's kind of an old school mentality.
And I do too sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy that with my friends and
But you show up on time.
absolutely. But you know, the biggest thing that I remember is just everything for him was, you know, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Like there was never anybody not welcome in his home, no matter who you were. Like if he had just met you, he'd say, come over and have a beer with us. We're barbecuing or we're doing this. And just the love that he poured into the world.
Yeah, I think
It was pretty cool.
It sounds like he left an amazing legacy, which is what we all hope for, right? And, you know, you're going to be able to carry it on.
I was telling him, you know, to see a lot of the responses
sure.
on Facebook. We talked about this morning.
Yeah.
I read it. I was and I don't like being on. I don't really get on there much anymore. But I started rolling through people's comments, and it's crazy that even for just brief moments, even if it was like, just so many people had a moment, where they were impacted by him that they shared, and it's like, you just never know who you reach in the littlest thing somebody remembers. And it was pretty awesome for me to see about how just one guy he probably never knew that he reached that many people, or that many people loved being around him or in his presence. It was really cool. And, you know, there is no preparing for this. Like, you knew there were health issues, and you've dealt with
suffering for quite a long time. But the strength that man showed is something that I'm proud of, you know.
Yeah, you should be.
I'm trying to show it. You know, I've been pretty good the last couple of days, but the nights are tough. You know, I told you guys this, and I don't mind telling, because the people that listen to us, a lot of you guys are close family, friends, and I want to thank everybody for the outpouring love and support that my family's received. It's been amazing. It's been overwhelming. You know, everybody, we're all dads, you know, now. And, you know, your kids will tell you, you know, oh, you're the best dad in the world, right? And I know your guys' dads, because they've been fathers to me as well. I mean, they're father figures to me, but, you know, my dad was the perfect father, the earthly father for me. There was nobody that I could have ever imagined being better than him. And he understood me. I understood him. When he went through the challenges through cancer and different things, and he lost his voice, that was his instrument. You guys know that. Yeah. I mean, that fucker was loud, man. he was loud with everything he did.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't matter what it was.
No.
One of the best joke tellers I've ever seen or heard in my life. But when he lost that instrument, I think part of him, it went away too. And the last few years were really, really difficult for him and for me. But he felt the most comfortable, obviously, with me, because I could finish his sentences, you know, where he would get embarrassed talking to people that he hadn't seen in a long time, because it was a challenge. Restricted airway, and, you know, he had a full laryngectomy, so he had to learn how to speak again. And for a man like that used his voice as his career, you know, I mean, we're on the phone a lot, and a lot of people we don't meet, you know. I mean, there's customers that we've had that are in other states and never met them, but they knew my dad's voice. And it's devastating. But again, I appreciate you guys, you know, bringing me in here to do this. And he wouldn't want anything less. You know, he wants us to push forward, which I'm going to do. And
when he was very lucky to have you as a son. You have been
appreciate that.
Very good to both of your parents, and, you know, showing strength in this situation that I don't know that I could.
Well, you know, as a parent, again, like I'm trying to show my kids, like, hey, you're going to have adversity, you're going to have loss, you're going to have devastation, and you can come out of it a better person. And there's a lot of epiphanies that you have when you lose someone. Maybe you take a little more time for yourself, and you don't miss the little things. You always make the big things. That's the other thing. My dad, he never missed one single event that we were ever involved in.
A barbecue, whatever it was.
No, every sporting event, it was so important to him, and I'm the very same way.
Yeah.
I'll be slammed at work, and I'll drop everything to go see my kids play sports.
Yep.
My grandfather did that. His dad, my grandmother did that. His mom, my uncle does that. He does that, and it's just, that's part of the legacy. I think that it's important. I don't know if I appreciated it enough when we were.
I don't
kids,
think any kids ever.
But I'll tell you what
is a challenge.
Not knowing that your dad's going to make it because. He and Jake, you and I talked about this today because Rick's the same way, and so is Mike. But he would let me know before he dropped me off at school, like, hey, I may not be able to make the game.
Right.
And, I just want you to know, have a good game, play hard, all the stuff a dad should say. And every single time he would show up with his flip mobile phone back then. And
my dad still has a flip.
Yeah, and there used to be a book called The Pacific Shipper that had all the vessel schedules for the entire country, and he would have that with him, and he'd be on the phone, but he'd be there.
Right.
And just so appreciative of the life that I had with him, and so blessed to have a father so loving, and we'll move on here in a minute, but my wife really said it best. She's like, as parents, you judge the job you're doing constantly. You always want to know, hey, are we doing good enough? Do we need to change this? Do we need to change this? And she said, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is that your kids felt loved. That's what they remember. The memories that they remember are that they felt loved. And, there was never a day from the time I was able to have a memory, comprehend, and to the day of his death, that I never felt unloved. And that is a true testament of a man that just loved his family with his entire heart and would do anything for us. And just grateful, sad, but super grateful for many, many good times. And so for those of you that do listen and do want to support, I want to let you know we are going to do a visitation at Jay's Chapel on the 24th of January. That'll be 2 to 6. And then also the services, Celebration of Life, will be on the 25th of January at Jay Chapel at 11 o'clock. So,
and for those that listen that don't know Jeff, we appreciate your support, and again, feel free to reach out. Like, we appreciate everybody that listens. I know when we look at the numbers, like, there's people I don't know where. I don't know who lives in Arizona or Texas. And
sorry to bore you with that.
No. I think it's like you said, it's good. You should talk about it.
Yeah, it helps. It helps to talk about it. And like I said, every day is different, but
it's healthy too.
It is.
It's healthy to go through the emotions and be able to verbalize it, and when you need to. And
that whole life goes on thing, it does. The void won't ever go away, but he would want me to push forward with everything that I was doing in my life. Whatever it is, he would want me to keep going. So stopping this was not something that, I wanted to do. So I'm glad you guys drugged me in here.
No, man. Again, we were on your time. I think when you felt comfortable and headspace was okay. Because I don't think it'll ever be gone. But we're here. We're doing it. I will say, I do love that he sent you text messages about the podcast and
all the time,
and
all the time.
You would send them to me. I don't know if you ever got any of those. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
And for Ricky, your brother, and us, I mean, he loved every episode. obviously because we're all his kids, you know, so they're all good according to him. But little Richard was by far his favorite. He said he laughed his ass
I love
off.
it. I'll have to tell Ricky that. I'm sure
So
Ricky listens.
He
Ricky knows.
Yeah, but I love you guys, and he did too, and thank you for giving us a few minutes to do that.
Absolutely. We love you too, and we loved him. And
thank you.
Sad to see him go, but we're here for you.
Yeah, I know that, and you guys have been awesome. You know, and I know I've been absent some, but
we're on your time.
You know,
like
we'll start with this though. He did get the Dolphins in the playoffs.
Oh yes,
you know, because
he did.
Jason Sanders is not a good kicker by any means, and I think, you know, Randy Cargill, who we've shouted out a few times, he texted me right after that kick went through, and he's like, "Dude, that was Steve Cox right there telling him, you're not going to miss this fucking kick."
My son will see them in the playoffs this year.
And they made it.
They made it. They
Congrats.
made it.
Thank you.
We will
We'll get there.
Work our way into some NFL talk because some teams didn't get there.
No.
Again, we will get into that. But let's start with, you know what? I wasn't going to do it because I thought it would be funny. Because our fantasy football season for Watch Your Lips has been over for a couple weeks. And your champion has yet to be announced, and that was done on purpose. And just to give credit where credit is due, the winner of the first annual league is Kevin Burns. He beat myself, and it doesn't matter. You don't win anything.
You win pride, Jacob.
I'm sure most of the people that were in the league didn't know the initial rules. Are going to protest your victory, so I'm going to accept all protests.
Settings. I made the settings, so nobody can protest.
And who
you had
called
no
it
say in it.
No, I had no say in it, and I looked at the settings before the draft. So the guy that was most prepared for this draft won the league. You're welcome.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I had last pick and made it to the championship out of 16 teams, so you're lucky I had a bad weekend. Anyways, so moving on.
But I did win, so
yeah.
There's always luck in fantasy.
I think there's some ketchup packets.
There's
in the
always
break room.
luck in fantasy.
That's an argument.
You don't think that there is some luck in fantasy at
Absolutely
all times?
There is some, but
Yes.
it takes a lot of management skills.
Well, I know that's why I won, but what I'm saying is,
Oh, Burns.
It's gonna be a long
never
season.
mind.
It's gonna be a long off season.
Moving on, Burns is champ. Congratulations.
I won 3 times in the pick'ems this year.
Like I said, there's some
So
salt
you're
packets
welcome.
and there's probably some crackers.
Get your popcorn ready because
Go ahead
this is all about me right now.
And moving on. We did have a national championship between the TCU Horned Frogs.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if they showed up at the right stadium.
this is the battle of the bulge.
Georgia literally
Georgia
beat
did.
the shit out of TCU. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. I didn't think Georgia was going to lose that game. I do like an underdog. I still didn't think Georgia was going to lose that game. Did I think it was going to be by 55 points? I did not. I mean,
did Max Duggan's stock go down? His draft stock?
I don't know. They turned the ball over 3 times on their first 5-6 possessions, and Georgia just ran down and scored. I mean, that doesn't help.
And did 25-year-old Stetson, did his draft stock go up?
How about that? And nobody still hypes him up at all. Like, I know.
Well, he's Doug Flutie-ish.
Is he short or no?
I think
short,
I've
right?
got maybe an inch on him.
In height or
Yeah, both.
I mean, he was a walk-on to a JUCO to now a back-to-back national champ. Like, it's impressive. You can't knock him. You can't say, what can you say?
No, and dude, he's super mobile.
Nobody's favorite quarterback just won 2 back-to-back titles. Like,
I just don't know. I don't know.
I listened to Joel Klatt, and I thought he was right about, and Jeff, I told you this, and I talked about it somewhere else. He was talking about, we saw Georgia wins that game 9 times out of 10. And you saw the 1 out of 9 where they just destroy TCU. Because people were talking about how they didn't belong. TCU didn't belong. And I disagree with that because Michigan's a good football team.
9 times out of 10, though, Michigan wins that game.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So you got
Honestly,
the 1 out of
TCU played the game of their life.
right. And they spent their juice on that.
Absolutely.
But to say they don't belong, I can't say that. I mean,
you lost 1 game all year,
but it was the conference title game.
With
so is that an issue going forward?
You beat Kansas State also.
It's true.
So I mean,
I think the expanded playoff will be nice. It's going to make a ton of money. That's one thing.
It's going to be exciting, dude.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't go back a week ahead prior to the semis and not think that was one of the greatest college football days. I mean, those two games.
Yeah, those were great.
That's all people could talk about. And you see what TCU did to come back, and you're like, whoa, they put up 50 points on that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there is a shot. It just so happened Georgia wasn't having it, and it was impressive.
No, I mean, they did everything.
There was
right.
literally nothing.
everything.
I stopped watching.
Do you think they could have won? They beat an NFL team that night? The way they played, the way they executed.
So, dude,
you think they win an NFL game?
You hear that all the time.
I don't think
the NFL is so much faster.
You don't think they beat
stronger, bigger? Yeah,
the Texans.
I don't think so.
Look, Texans were still beating NFL teams.
I mean, they won their last game to forfeit the first pick of the draft.
And then Larry Smith
fired.
Then he gets fired.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just was like, well, I wonder if they. I mean, they executed. But who knows? It's such a different pace at that level. It seems to be faster. I mean, I used to be like solely a college football guy. I couldn't stand the NFL until I got into fantasy. And then you obviously pay attention more to the NFL. And that's when I realized, oh, I've been missing the boat on this. These guys are incredible athletes, and they're like freakishly good. And the difference is, I mean, I don't know enough about football to maybe say this. Just in my opinion, the difference is pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I don't think there's ever been a team, and we could get some argument, but there were some good Alabama teams, but nobody beats an NFL team. There's just no way. They're stacked. I mean, Alabama's stacked. Okay, every NFL team is
Alabama's stacked, and all their top guys end up going to these NFL teams and just getting better and better.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat an NFL team.
Yeah, one thing, too, was Pollock talking about how Georgia is now the face of college football, literally to Nick Saban's face.
I love it.
Which was beautiful.
Love it.
And he's not wrong. Saban can be pissed all he wants, but what have you done for me lately? Clemson kicks their ass in 19, 44 to something like 15, 16. And then you have Georgia go back to back. Not that Alabama's not relevant and a top 2-3 football team. It's not that they're not a power, but right now Georgia's the team to beat.
Yeah.
Right. The target is probably on Georgia's back over Alabama's back.
Yes.
I mean, aside from the semifinals and the one game that came down to like the last second, they didn't struggle all year to dominate, right? Georgia?
I didn't.
They had one really close game. I can't remember which one it was.
And it was against like Illinois or something.
It could have been.
stupid.
Yeah, I think it was Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other
they had
than
to come
that,
back.
Yeah, they just dominated. That's why everybody started saying they were boring, because they just nobody had a chance.
You know what, though? Like, Kirby Smart, the way he goes about it is just a little bit different than Nick Saban. And I know I have hate for Nick Saban.
There's bias here.
But the egotistical shit that Nick Saban says and does all the time is, I think, why so many people hate Alabama.
It's part of it. I mean,
I don't think what I'm saying is I don't think Kirby Smart is going to have that same hatred.
No, he's not.
Even if they start dominating like they are right now.
You don't see him on Affleck commercials. You see Saban kind of everywhere in the college football landscape too. He's an analyst during that game. It's like, and they won. I mean, listen,
Do you
people.
think he dyes his hair? You think that's his? I mean, that can't be his true
Like
hair
70?
color, right? I mean, that's turning into
I don't know.
kind of a goldish tint.
I'm not sure.
I would have to see him. I thought he had brown hair.
I thought he would too.
Well, at one time he had a lot of brown hair.
Now
but
I have to
it's
look.
thinning and it's gold.
Is it?
So the other.
You think he bleaches it?
I think something. Maybe he puts sun in like we used to.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I
Maybe he
could do
does that.
I don't know. I'd have to. I don't pay attention to the man's hair. I'm sorry.
Get that orange glow. That's
I
what we
don't
used
know,
to get.
just bunny trail.
Another thing out there in the news world is Harbaugh interviewing with the Broncos, and you see the NCAA trying to investigate Michigan, which I think is nonsense. I saw their complaints, and it's fucking stupid. But it looks like there's a possibility he's out of college football. And I've seen Colin Cowherd talk about how the fit for him is best in Denver over a guy like Sean Payton, and maybe he's right.
Well, Peyton is going, or they got permission to speak to him in Arizona.
Yeah.
So he's going to do that.
Okay.
But with Jim Harbaugh, I mean, this is the dream college job. You know, he did an unbelievable job at Stanford. He's turned around the Michigan program back to prominence, where it should be. You know, I mean, very successful NFL career with the Niners when he was there. I think a guy like Russell Wilson would thrive under Jim Harbaugh.
Agree. I think so.
You know, he was a quarterback. There's going to be a mutual respect there for sure. I'd love to see him in Denver.
Do you think his brother's on the hot seat? I know it's a little pivot, but do you think
Probably not. I mean,
because Lamar went down?
well, and you're still a 5 seed, I think. I think they're a 5 or 6
that's
seed.
true. Yeah, that's true.
You won 10 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
Felt like they had a losing season.
Well, yeah, but they didn't have their running back. I mean, they're
they're
No,
not
I
flashy
agree.
like
they've
they
gone
always
through a
are.
lot. Andrews
You know,
was down for a little bit throughout the season. Like it's
the
Yeah.
defense.
so to
was,
win 10 games.
That's true. Yeah.
defense, though, Baltimore's always gotten there with a top 5 defense.
Right.
They're very mediocre now. So
Yeah, you think
without
of the
Lamar
Ray Lewis
Jackson,
days.
those days, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis.
And they were just coming out to
Oh yeah,
paralyze people.
exactly. Exactly.
I think it is a decent fit. I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up with the Broncos. I don't think he's coming back to Michigan, but who knows? Who knows?
What are they investigating them for? I didn't
Just some
see.
violations. They had something during COVID. I forgot the details, but that was just like this sounds petty.
When you're paying these guys so much money, how is there even violations now?
Well,
I mean, you can
why
literally
is the
buy players
NCAA?
Urban Meyer would be the only one violating things.
if
right?
he's kicking people. Yeah, I mean
I
that
don't
would
know.
be a violation.
I just thought that was an interesting, where he's, his idea was to be back in Michigan, and obviously that's the NFL comes calling.
I've asked this before. Was it Detroit that he was close to getting last year, or was it? Oh, it was Minnesota. Never mind.
I have no idea.
And I mean, he was big talks Miami because of the Stephen Ross connection to Michigan. But
He's one of those coaches that he can coach at both levels
absolutely
successfully.
And there's very few that can do that.
Yeah, because
Really?
it is such a different game.
So our last episode was the week we found out that Derek Carr was no longer going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. And the Raiders played 2 games with Stidham as their quarterback, played well against the Niners, came down to the end of the game. Did that go into overtime? I don't remember.
It did.
Yeah.
And then they lost their last game of the season pretty badly.
Horrible.
Yeah. So, we haven't gotten to talk about that situation, I don't think, in depth, or did we? I don't remember.
And we did a little bit, but I mean, Vegas, I hope you're happy now.
Yeah.
Because Stidham, obviously, same result. Doesn't matter. He played well against the Niners. What people forget is, and I think you said it last episode, they had like 4 games where they had a 13-point lead. Okay, well, that's not all Derek Carr's fault. The defense was atrocious. Okay. But Stidham had the same result. They're 0-2. In the NFL, it doesn't matter. Like, okay, you played a really good Niners team really well, and you played a really good Chiefs team absolutely horrible the next week. So there were no adjustments made. Any traction that you were gaining or you thought you were when playing the Niners, you lost all of it.
It just
in
looked
the
like
Chiefs
more
game.
inconsistency again.
Yeah. Did you?
And it's Josh McDaniels, dude.
Like the play calling, you kept hearing people, because I didn't get to see the Niner game, or at least I got to see part of the first half. I didn't get to see the finish of the game. And you hear people talking about, the game call, the play calling was completely different that game versus when Carr was in there. I couldn't tell you.
What I noticed in the Niner game is the offensive line was protecting him, and then they went back to what they did.
He had a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he moved out of the pocket pretty well in that game when he needed to. But
True.
I don't know if he's the answer or not.
He absolutely is not. The answer.
I don't love the decision on how they handled the Carr situation, but I also get the business decision from the Raiders too. I get it. I really hope he ends up somewhere stable because I think he's
Bring him to Miami today so he can play Sunday.
There's a need.
He's a smart kid. He'll figure it out. He'll figure the
Wouldn't
playbook
that
out
be
in 3
something?
days. That would be something.
that would be crazy.
Yeah. and let him play.
Way better than Mayfield with, I mean, his was impressive coming in after 3 days, but this and then win?
But Skylar turnover Thompson is no chance.
None.
So I have two things that one is there's a story out there, and again, I've talked about this elsewhere that we haven't talked about on here. There's a story that's not being talked about. I'm not seeing it in the news.
Are we going to talk about it?
We're talking about it.
Okay.
It's not being talked about on the mainstream. I don't see it on ESPN. I haven't seen it on First Take. I haven't seen it on Colin Cowherd. But I'm only looking at clips. I'm not listening to their full broadcast. So I could be wrong. But maybe you agree. There is a story out there not being talked about in the NFL with a particular team, and I'll even say on the West Coast. Do you guys have any idea what story I would be talking about?
Sean McVay.
No, but that is interesting. Did he make a decision, by the way, just before
he's going to take some time off. I don't think that necessarily means he's resigning.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
How come nobody is talking about
here?
And I'm not a Niner fan. We all know this.
Okay.
On NFL Live, they do.
Okay.
There's some, not enough.
The guys,
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dan does.
Yeah.
But do you guys know why he wears the number 13?
I don't.
His idol growing up,
Dan Marino,
was the same as mine. Yeah,
Moving on.
Brett Frazier, a Niner fan,
Dolphin Hour,
called me, and he told me that, and I said, you know what? I've already taken everything I've said about Brock Purdy back. I did that a few weeks ago. Watch my lips responsibly. This kid is good. He is very good.
And I think it confirms what we've been saying, that offense is not built around that position.
He's got the potential that they've got another weapon in their arsenal with him.
Well, I mean,
because
I don't see how, if they continue to win.
You okay over there?
How is he not your quarterback going forward?
Dude, he is.
Look what they did with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. You talk about a turnover machine, dude, in the fourth quarter. In playoff games, Niner fans will tell you they don't want Jimmy G with a close game in the fourth quarter to screw it up.
But I'm saying he won. He got him pretty far into the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they still got rid of him. So I expect that they're probably still going to stick with Trey Lance no matter what.
I don't know. You win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy's your quarterback.
Yeah, it should be,
It's going to be, and I'm not saying this, okay? So, guys, don't quote me on this. He's not a Tom Brady-esque right now. But he goes out and wins this first Super Bowl, which is not out of the realm of possibility. No. He can do this. He could be, there could be a big dynasty in San Francisco. There really could be. We could see another 90s push of this Niners
McCaffrey,
team.
Yeah, I agree.
And that defense.
But
if eventually they're going to have to figure out who they're not going to pay. So
one, he would be a good one because they probably wouldn't.
Well, he's going to be on a rookie contract.
Well, and he's
cheap. Right now, as Trey Lance as well.
Right. Well, and that's the thing you worry about is, okay, if you get rid of Brock Purdy and you have the next phenom, let's say, and there's plenty, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, like that kind of guy. Andrew Luck could have been that guy. I don't know if Brock Purdy can, but if he keeps winning, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All you got to do is win, right? And he does that.
At the very least, I think
they haven't lost the game.
It's opened up to a competition. At the very least, in my opinion. He's 6-0.
They were skeptic on Trey Lance anyway.
6-0, 13 touchdowns to 3 picks. And I only say that because I was like, I'm going to go look at Derek Carr's last 6 games. So what do you think the Raiders were in his last 6 as a starter?
Record?
3-3?
4-2.
4-2.
And he probably had 6 picks, maybe 10 touchdowns.
12-4.
11-9.
Oh.
So what I should have gone to look at.
Not good.
No, we were very optimistic.
What I should have done is looked at how well those 4 wins, how well they ran the ball. because to be 11-9 is, I mean, he had 2 3-pick games in there.
Yeah, that's not good.
So what
Not
I'm
good at
saying
all.
is like, while everybody didn't like the decision, you know, and we're all dog fans and we're all big DC fans. My problem is what is I get the getting hurt and having to pay out. I get it. I really do. And if that's really the reason, I understand that as the business decision. I really do. I still don't like it.
If you bring him back next year, you're cowards. That organization is a bunch of cowards.
Absolutely.
You know, if
Absolutely.
you're thinking about bringing him back,
Yeah.
and if I'm Derek Carr, regardless of the situation, I'm out of Vegas.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going back.
The amount of hate that is going back and forth, and now,
How are you going to kick out a fan that says bench McDaniels? That guy got thrown out. You
Yeah.
see that?
yeah.
For a sign.
Well, when you can't win with Carr, you have one with Carr, plenty.
But now you have an
And you
excuse
can't
to
win with
lose.
Stidham.
But you have an excuse to lose with Stidham because he hasn't had many starts. He's not been solidified in the NFL. So
Yeah, but that's not okay for that organization.
I don't think so either.
That's not okay.
And it's not
Well,
okay.
didn't they still have a chance at playoffs against the Niners? Well, there was like a very,
very slim chance,
but
yeah.
still a chance.
Yeah, they could have got in.
and they mailed it in.
Yeah.
Just thought that, I mean, I just think it's kind of crazy that Brock Purdy hasn't been a bigger mainstay
Storyline.
in the news. Because you're seeing stuff like, if McCarthy loses this game, he's fired as the Cowboys head coach. And Jerry Jones had said, no, it's not even a discussion. Where, you know, maybe he does. I don't know. But I'm thinking, well, that's not, like, that's,
you
look
don't
at what,
want to go back to a Jason Garrett type situation. You don't. I mean, I think I'm not a huge McCarthy fan. I mean, I don't know how you feel when he was in Green Bay. Brought him a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I liked him in Green Bay.
Constant winner.
Yeah.
He's done it in Dallas. Like,
going 12, 13 games, right? Well, I mean,
yeah.
to lose how they lost against Washington the other day was
that was horrible.
yeah, you don't want to,
But Dak
that's not what you
Prescott's
want.
Turning the ball over
Yeah.
left and right.
Wasn't good, man.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has thrown a lot of interceptions.
The other story, before we get into
he
some
has.
playoff talk here, the other story is, and Burns, you and I talked about this, the bigger in-season comeback. Detroit Lions, and this is kind of easy to answer, but Detroit Lions, and for me, I had to limit it to two because the Packers
Yeah.
finished behind both, was the Jaguars. The Jags and the Lions. I mean, the Lions were what, 0-5, 0-6,
I
or
think
1-6?
they were 1-5 to start the season.
And I think the Jags were the same.
Yeah, I think so.
1-5 or 1-6.
And I mean, the Jags made the playoffs, so I would assume that's, you know, for most, that wins it for them in that debate.
Right.
Do you agree with that? I mean, the conferences maybe wasn't very good versus what the Lions were up against.
that conference is terrible, man.
So
I mean, you
that's
got
why
a
I'm asking
three-win
it.
team and
That's
a
why I'm
two-win
that's
team.
why I'm asking it the way I'm asking it.
Jaguars.
Was it
are
harder
dangerous.
for the Lions to get to 8 or 9 wins versus the Jaguars?
Yes.
I'd have
I
to
think
look
so.
at the
So
out of conference
take
schedule.
making the playoffs out of
Right.
it. Who do you think had the most impressive season comeback? And to me, I think it's the Lions.
I agree. I think.
I think it
Considering
is
how
too.
bad their defense was and how many points they were to pull and rattle off what they rattled off.
When they beat the Vikings.
Yeah,
And they went into Lambeau in a game
and
that the Packers had to have and were fantastic.
Yeah. I remember. So in the middle of the season, I mentioned it to you, and I think you too. I said the Lions they're not going to make the playoffs or whatever because they always blow it, but they're going to have one big upset this year, and it's probably going to be Green Bay.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
I put it in the world,
and you did.
and it kicked me in the teeth.
Yep.
Did you sleep at all the other night?
I slept well.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's still wearing it.
Is Rodgers done?
Yeah. No. Well, he shouldn't be, but he may be. I don't know. I'm still reeling from the lost.
It was
Jacob.
honestly, it was a little.
called you Joseph.
It was hard to see him walk off the field. Like it,
I was a sore loser, and I stopped watching once I knew they lost.
you know, it was. You felt like maybe it was done. You just got that sense, and it's like, dude, this has been a guy. You know, the same with Tom Brady, and you see like the generation that we kind of grew up with is on its way out, and it's weird. I don't think he's done either, but
yeah, his press conference was a little misleading or purposely leading us to believe that, but
well, it is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
now.
he's
like,
very.
I mean, don't
yeah,
don't
he
count
likes
your
playing with them.
don't count all the cards yet because they're not on the table. Okay?
we do have.
He's got a few left in his pocket, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we do have postseason brackets all settled done. Before we start talking about our picks and all that, the other thing we miss, and we don't need to spend a ton of time on it because everybody in the world's talked about it. Everybody in the world saw it. Everybody went through it, and that was DeMar Hamlin on Monday Night Football.
And he walked out of the hospital today.
It's crazy, dude. So again, we've been away from recording that long.
What we need to say though is that event has shown some love back into this country.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
we were talking
you
about
have a $25,000 goal for your toy drive.
2,500
or 2,500. Excuse me. Did I add a zero?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Zero.
Sure. And now it's over pushing $9 million.
Is it? Wow, up to that
impressive.
much.
Pushing $9 million.
Yeah, I think we all kind of, when we spoke about it, we said the same thing. It was, it just, people are capable. We're capable.
Yeah.
We
don't have to buy in.
I'm going to go on this just for a second, okay? Because we're involved in fantasy leagues, but some people's true colors were coming out. I'm not going to mention any names, but what are we going to do with the Bills and Bengals game? And I'm like, well, we'll just wait for Yahoo or ESPN or whatever platform we're using.
NFL makes a decision for the game.
Yeah. So let's not worry about your points right now. Okay.
The night of that,
or the next morning.
Wow.
Within a 12-hour period.
You bastards.
I'm like, okay. I mean, I know that fantasy football is extremely important, at least to me it is. I would never do that. We can wait a week. We can figure it out.
I mean, I lost. I lost because of that game. Not because of that game. It's whatever. Who cares?
But what an amazing story. And the
Absolutely.
first responders, man, the NFL doctors get shit on a lot. Right.
Well, they've taken their heat recently, especially this season.
Especially through concussion protocols and clearing people or, multiple injuries for the same player, nagging injuries not being handled properly or whatever. But this was amazing. They saved that man's life.
It was an athletic trainer who was actually doing the CPR, right?
Yes.
Which I don't think that they get enough credit for their job. I mean, they're trained to have life-preserving activities, right? They're trained for CPR or whatever, and they go out and perform it. That was impressive. And the whole situation was amazing.
I mean, how fast they were on it and just saved his life.
And those coaches handled it exactly
perfect.
the way they should have.
Yeah, it was.
And credit the Bengals for, they were extremely supportive of that young man and his family, and it was cool to see.
Yeah, in a very, what could have been very tragic situation, we saw a lot of good come out of it.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I wanted to throw that out there. We didn't really, we haven't had the opportunity to talk about it. And, it was scary. And you couldn't take your eyes off of it. It's, you're also praying for the best when you hear CPR is done and he's on the field for 9 minutes and all you do is you think the worst. So for the outcome to be what it is, man, such an incredible story. And
number 3's everywhere.
Yeah, man. And I think, like you
Great
said,
story.
It's nice to see that people still got it. It's always been there.
Yeah.
It's we seem to let certain things, media sources and outlets and channels and politics, it seems, try to dictate whether we should like something or not, or we should cheer for something or not, or whether we should pull for something or not. And it seems like that's where the division starts. And it's well, fuck that. We don't have to let that happen.
Right.
And I don't think people did in this case.
But
it didn't matter.
The unity that this country showed around one man was amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I just wanted to make sure to talk about that because I think there's a lot of things to take with that going forward too. I just, That was awesome. I didn't hear he came home or got released. That's great news.
Yeah, he was released today.
So here we go. Now, before we get into the bracket part of it, the other games that we play on here, Jeff, did you bring that? Do I was in here?
No.
Burns, Burns also the winner of the kicker fantasy.
Hey, it's a winning kind of day.
Well, I mean,
where's the champagne?
I think
There's saltine crackers in there and some ice.
I think we'll have to table this because there were many weeks.
Are we extending
that we didn't pick
the next season?
Oh no.
I mean, it's
said.
Listen,
you want an asterisk?
He's pulling your chain here.
I do not.
You want a COVID championship?
He's pulling your chain,
and your mathematics, Jake, on the pick'em, where you said. I'm pretty certain I've heard Jeff was up by 1. Jeff was up by 2.
You were up by 1 last, and then we picked. You were up by 1. You put up 5. I put up 7. You lost by 1.
Yeah, I don't know.
He did this with the baseball.
Yeah,
we're gonna go down.
It's science.
We're gonna go listen to every episode.
He's mad because he's over, and you're lucky. We're in the college basketball season. That March Madness is going to be here before you know.
Get my ass kicked in that again.
We will be doing that again, which was a lot of fun.
That last year,
I won the World Cup
that nobody played in.
Yeah, he had his own game against himself.
I did.
So
I won the pick'em 71. Jeff had 70.
Congrats.
Bernsey finished with 66. And in the kickers, again, ice and some napkins are back there for your prize. So enjoy yourself. But Burns won the kickers 146. Jeff had 135, and I had 115.
Had a good year, boys.
So
you had
a lot of pride.
Good weeks early.
Here we go.
Happened.
We're gonna get into the nitty gritty and wrap it up. Jeff, your Dolphins made it. And I know you couldn't be prouder, considering the finish that they've had. Yeah. Their season ends this weekend, so
yeah, it does. It does. Very bittersweet.
Let's start. Let's go ahead and start in the AFC, boys. You got the number 4 Jacksonville Jaguars and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Jaguars for me.
In Jacksonville.
Chargers.
I'm going to go off that 38-10 win that the Jaguars curb stomped them earlier in the year.
Taking the Jags as well. Was his name Staley? Is he out if they lose this game? You think? Possible?
No, I mean, Chargers hadn't been there in a few years.
And again, they've had injuries too. So
yeah.
Okay, so we're going Jaguars. You got Chargers. Bengals hosting Baltimore. Bengals.
Who day?
Buffalo hosting Miami. Again, Buffalo. And do we want to start?
Buffalo.
We want to stop there, and we'll go ahead, or we want to do the entire bracket? We want to stop at the first round.
Sure.
And we'll come back and do the second round next week. Okay.
All right.
Heading on over to the NFC side. Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting is absurd to me. The Dallas Cowboys.
The Bucks for me.
Cowboys.
Tom Brady in the playoffs. The way Dak Prescott's playing, you can't beat the Commanders. Good luck.
I mean, the Bucks but the Bucks got wrecked by the Falcons.
They did,
and
they had their second and third strings playing.
Excuses.
Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Bucks. And Tom Brady.
We got the New York Giants at the Vikings. The Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm going to take the Vikings.
I'm going to take the Vikings.
Okay. Your favorite? Is your new team this year?
Does it look like it's my new team?
Yeah.
No, it does not, Jacob.
See, I told you. That's how he says it.
Hey,
Jacob.
Philadelphia.
They have a bye. So you have the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers.
Niners.
I'm also going to take the Niners.
Bang.
We will get back into the next round next week when we
No, that's not happening. We're not changing anything. We're going through the whole bracket, Jake.
I just asked this, and he said
no.
Yeah,
You said I thought you just wanted to go AFC back to NFC.
No, I was saying
let's do this. We're going all the way.
Wild card round, and then we'll do the divisional round.
All of it.
Okay, you're gonna you picked the Buccaneers, and we picked different teams.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so let's say the Bucks win. Bucks at Philly.
Philly.
Okay. Dallas at Philly.
Philly.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. Dallas.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah. Whoa.
I'm going to take Philly. So then you've got the Vikings and the Niners at Niners.
Vikings.
I'm going to take the Niners. So sticking there, you're going to have the Niners and the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly.
They're going to the
You're
Super
going
Bowl
Brock
for you.
Purdy, huh? You're going to take the
Yes,
Purd
I
man?
am.
It's going to be Bills and Niners in the Super Bowl for him.
I mean, it's
we'll
not
see.
impossible there.
Oh, Bengals probably.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I will take the Niners over the Eagles as well.
I took the Vikings over the Cowboys.
Okay.
So he's got a Vikings Super Bowl.
So
and we got the
basically,
Niners.
his bracket is over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just like my fantasy team was.
Well,
It
it's like
wasn't.
Green Bay's
It
season
wasn't.
is. So
wasn't.
you're going to have who going to the Super Bowl? Vikings?
Yep.
Vikings.
From NFC.
And we have
Vikings.
the Niners.
Yes.
Okay. You got the Jags over Kansas City.
Kansas City Chiefs.
And you're going to take the
Chiefs.
Chargers at Chiefs. Okay. Chiefs going on.
Chiefs.
Bengals and Bills.
Bengals.
In a beautiful matchup.
Bengals.
Bills going buff. It's the Buffalo Bills. Then you have the Buffalo Bills taking on Kansas City. And, of course, I picked Buffalo to get there from the get-go, so I'm going to take Buffalo. You guys are going to go Bengals, Kansas City.
I'm going Bengals.
I'm going
switching.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. So Bengals back to the Super Bowl. And then
Bengals, Niners for me. Vikings, Chiefs for you.
Bills, Niners.
Buffalo, Niners. Our original. He's sticking with it, boys.
I had the Rams.
And the Super Bowl champion,
Buffalo Bills.
Joe Cool, and the Cincinnati
I would have
Bengals.
Chiefs.
zero problems with that, by the way.
Okay.
I am a big
You know,
fan.
this brings up a really good point, okay? That I wanted,
Hold
that I
on.
wanted to
So
bring
we're,
up.
so we're clear. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals.
Okay?
All AFC.
I want you to go and just look at these teams in the AFC and look at the quarterback. Okay? And we can even throw Tua in there, but Tua for Miami.
Bills are playing with a little higher power.
Josh
right now.
Allen. All their starters. We got him here. Look at this side of the bracket. Tua, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Tell me the AFC is not stacked. Now, the NFC, Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, and Jalen Hurts. The AFC is winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Just telling.
That's what- yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what it
and I
seems
just
like.
think it's funny that we all pick AFC teams because the Eagles are getting no love,
None.
zero, and Jalen Hurts is amazing. He really is.
I think
but,
people are like, it's because it's going to come down.
but I want to
It's
see.
going to collapse.
Well, I want to see him play the Niners. I want to see him play that defense. And if you can torch that defense like you've torched other defenses, okay, then I'll be a believer. But until then, they've played no defenses even remotely close to what the Niners are going to be for them.
We will update these as the games are played. So, I mean, we don't have to change anything, but we will, as winners come, we can always pick again just to pick. All right. But that is our brackets. Again, we will pick week to week as the games are played and teams win and lose. But 3 different Super Bowl winners. That's okay. I didn't expect that.
I love it.
Not gonna. Any heaters before we shut it down, fellas?
Heater?
Any heaters?
Yeah, I've got one.
Brent, let me have it.
So on December 20th, California banned the sale of tobacco that was flavored, right? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. Pissed me off.
First off, we're not children. Like I get the vape pens and all of that where it appeals to the children.
Mm-hmm.
But doing chewing tobacco, doing everything. So you can't have any flavors for that because of what the nicotine, it's addictive, all of that stuff. Nicorette still sells cinnamon, mint, all of that. So
Well, I mean, you can buy marijuana.
right.
you can,
Yeah, like why
you can buy drugs.
so
At 18, you can buy drugs. Like, what the
yeah.
Yeah.
booze? It's flavored booze.
So
Yeah.
My heater is we got to get out
You
of
still
California.
you drink hooch?
Sometimes
Lemon lime?
I drink hooch.
Boone's Farms.
I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm just really,
Like-
really annoyed
Hey,
by
White
it.
Claw, though. You guys like White Claw?
No,
Oh,
No.
dude, I love it.
no.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's a headache in a can.
Yeah. Fuck.
Headache in a can.
Not a fan.
No. Do you like Trulies too?
No.
No.
Good.
No.
Because my next question is
No.
going to be, do you also like...
So your beef is that
penis.
we're adults and we should be able to pick flavored tobacco if we wanted.
Yeah, and really banning things like that, it doesn't really work. So when you look at the war on drugs, and this is kind of a stretch going this way, but the war on drugs, the crackdown on opiates being prescribed to patients and all of that, all it's done is created a funnel of drugs coming into our country. The fentanyl crisis, which is the deadliest, one of the deadliest health crises in America, is direct
Crises?
crises.
What is it?
I would say crisis.
It's done no good to ban these things. So why are we doing this again?
Well, how long do you think mint, like a mint tobacco, mint Copenhagen has been around?
Probably since
Wintergreen
late 90s.
or any mint?
I'm going to say since the
No.
70s.
No,
Probably, right?
I'm going to say, late 80s.
Okay,
'Cause I
what's
think
the
my dad-
difference? What's changed?
it
it tastes exactly the
Yeah.
same. That's the shit we used to steal from your dad.
Right.
So, I mean, it's
Exactly.
yeah, to me, it was still disgusting. But
I just don't understand.
what's changed in 50 years?
what's
that
changed
product?
is the vape stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
So then
ban
they-
vape pens.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
I
ban
don't get the
vaping
ban
material or
on-
whatever.
I don't
Do you
get the ban on
forget the
tobacco.
state we live in?
That's why I said we got to get out. That was my heater. I got to get out of this place.
So
it's the last
California
thing I
is
ever
just
do.
the shits, is what you're saying.
Yeah, policy wise, it's pretty bad. I mean, I like where we live. I enjoy,
The area.
The Central
area
Valley is
I
a
love.
beautiful place to live,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're close. You're 2 hours from the mountains and 2 hours from the beach.
but you're controlled by the two biggest cities
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
state, and so
Yeah.
that doesn't always align with what.
Hey, I agree.
So-
I don't like any of the policies
Yeah,
in California. I don't even know if I like one.
I don't think that. Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, I don't think that banning flavored tobacco is going to have any, and it's not going to have as big of an impact as they think that it's going to have.
Right.
And I don't know what impact they're trying for it to have. For kids not to do it.
Maybe.
There's what they're saying. It's all.
So
it's,
it always ends up going black market. So what happens when you're tobacco, you're buying off the street, whatever. I know it's a stretch, but you're buying that off the street and it's laced with fentanyl.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're trying to drive you to. It's ridiculous. It
I
really
agree with
bugs
you.
me.
Good heater. I hate it. It makes no sense to me
Yeah.
whatsoever. You still got regular, cigarettes and regular tobacco.
And you're adding flavors to alcohol by the day so that more people will drink,
Yeah.
which is deadlier than
True.
or can be as deadly as tobacco.
Sure.
I no disagreement here with you.
Just bugged by it.
Jake, heater.
No. I think that my heater was last week. I'm good. I'm excellent. Feeling
All
great.
right.
Feeling great.
This was fun. This was
If
good.
you have picks for your bracket, and if I can find a bracket to share with the public, I will. I'll be looking later tonight so we can get everybody's picks. Also, if not, share us your pick. Tell us what your pick is on Instagram.
I do have a pool that I do.
Okay.
You guys are obviously both invited. It's already in your inbox. Actually, two pools. It's basically this. It's an NFL bracket. And then there's a confidence pool of ranking the teams 14-1. So every time that team wins, you get their confidence points in
Yeah, like Bowl
as
Mania.
points. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to get in that, let me know.
Hat's still available. Hit up Jeff on Instagram.
Yep.
Follow Watch Your Lips at Watcher_Lips. Twitter and Instagram at Watch Your Lips on TikTok. YouTube, please go subscribe. Please, if you're listening, you don't got to watch it if you don't want to, but head over to YouTube, subscribe to Watch Your Lips, share it to like 10 people and tell them they don't got to watch it, but subscribe to Watch Your Lips. Trying to grow this mofo.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
Steve,
Yeah.
I hope we did okay this time. We'll get better. It's been a minute we've been away.
I love you, Dad. Rest easy, dude.
And anything else, Brandon?
That's it.
All right. Watch your lips, Burns.
Watch your lips.